Well, this I have talked about this on the show a couple of times over the last couple of years, but it seems like this project never gets done. I'm talking about the Loop Trolley. We're joined right now by Brenda Talent from the Show Me Institute. How are you?
I'm fine, Mark. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm trying to think who we had in here once from Show Me. We talked about this maybe about a year ago or so. Was it Graham Renz maybe? And we were talking about the fact that somehow they're going to have to go back to the well to get more money because they're just this thing seems to keep growing. It's like the Big Dig in Boston or something.
It's a big black hole just sucking taxpayer money down that hole. Yeah, just to bring everyone up to speed on this, if you'll recall, way back when, and this was several years when they put it out for bid, they thought it was going to be $43 million. But the bids came in. They were $11 million more than that. They went out for a second round of bids. Then it came back at basically $53 million. So $8 million more. $51 million, $8 million more than they expected. And of course, it was supposed to open in I think it was the fall of 2016. Then the spring of 2017, then the fall of 2017. Now they're talking about early next year, but they still need $500,000, and that's after getting over $30 million from the federal government. I believe the county's putting in $3 million. They've created a TDD, which is a transportation development district.
Right.
So they have a sales tax there, and there's a lawsuit going on because some residents have pointed out that the tracks exceed the boundaries of the TDD, and they're complaining about that. That case, they lost in the lower court. The residents did. It's on appeal now. And there's a point at which you say, well, we just keep throwing good money after bad, and now I am convinced that the argument we're going to get, in fact, we've already gotten it, is, well, we've invested so much already, we have to put more in to get this across the finish line. And the thing is that you look at the businesses there have been over half a dozen businesses that have closed. And people can say, well, businesses come, businesses go. But the reality is because they tore up all that road in order to put in the track, it's going to, tie up traffic. A number of these businesses just went out of business.
Sorry, I don't know what that was. Something on my computer just started playing. I apologize for that. But we got it potted down. Go ahead.
I thought actually someone was cheering me for what I was saying.
We've got applause over there. We can hit if you'd like, Brenda. Sorry.
Thank you.
My apologies. So go ahead.
So businesses have closed, and part of this is I look at these kind of activities where the government has really created an impediment to business, and you ask yourself, well, is anyone going to step forward and say, you know what, I'm going to reimburse you because I really forced your business to close because I had the sidewalk and the pavement torn up for over a couple of years when I promised you this was going to be done, back in 2016.
Yeah, there was an article in the Post recently that there were some private monies promised for this at the time that really never came through. And that was $5 million. So, I mean, that's not a drop in the bucket. And considering the gap that they have right now, that might have been more than enough to push them over the top, right?
More because they're only talking about, the reason they say they can't begin running the trolley is because they need an additional $500,000. Yeah. $500,000. It's
one of those things, and we've done reports on it before when I was at Channel 4 years ago about the fact that when it comes to public transportation, most people don't realize that even though they charge you a fare, it's never really designed to be self-supporting. It's always subsidized. It was meant to be that way from the beginning with the belief that you're doing this for the betterment of the community. This trolley at $43 million or whatever it's going to end up costing, or
51.
There's no way it'll ever pay for itself.
No, and what? It's just a little over 2 miles, I believe, long.
Right.
And of course, when we talk about the dollars that are already sunk into to creating this trolley, we're not talking about the ongoing maintenance costs or
expenses
operational
down the road.
Costs.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Wow. So who's on the hook for this at this point? Were these bonds that were issued to pay for this?
When you have a TDD, that's typically what they do. So the way it operates is that the businesses within the TDD will collect an additional sales tax, which will be remitted to the transportation development district that'll be used to pay off the bonds. But of course, the county, as I said, has put money into it. The federal government, which the last time I looked at, we were helping to fund the federal government, put $31 million in it, I believe is the figure. So it really is sort of take. And then the question is, what do we get? And is it worth what we've expended? It does seem to me that oftentimes we have these bright and shiny objects that we think this is going to turn around our city. This is going to, and in this case, it would revitalize or actually help the Loop become even more economically, I guess, would help them grow economically even more. But then you ask yourself, well, what if you hadn't done anything? And I suspect the growth would have continued. That area was actually beginning to thrive. Now we have businesses closing and moving out.
Well, Joe Edwards, who sort of was the brainchild behind all this, but he's kind of been pushing. And I remember when he first came out with it, I was thinking that's never going to fly. Nobody's going to put $40 million into a train that goes in a 2-mile loop in the middle of the U City Loop, and here we are. We're close.
Have you gone there too? Because it's going to be very interesting because you're going to be driving behind a trolley.
No, I've not. I've been to the pageant a few times, just down the street, but I don't know if I've actually paid attention to the track. There was certainly construction going on because it's been going on nonstop for a couple of years now down there.
Right.
What a mess. So I guess make sure you plan lots of trips to Blueberry Hill and all of that to help the TD district pay all this off.
Exactly.
That's funny. Brenda, thanks so much for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
We
Mark.
always appreciate it. And as I always mention, you can go to their website to read up on this and other issues that they're studying there at the showmeinstitute.org. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. Bye-bye.
You bet. Quick break. We're